everybody. Welcome to PPR Podcast number 198. It is brought to you by the kind folks at San Diego Strike Force, one of the president of the Strike Force, and the star of the podcast and the star of my life is Mr. Burt Grossman, who is the biggest pain in my butt, but he's necessary.
I deserve a day off on a Sunday or Saturday. And
Dude,
you just don't give it to me.
Let's ask our guest how many days off he takes.
You're probably right. You're going to win that argument.
All right, what introductions, please?
No introductions needed. Bashieff Jones, defense coordinator at Lincoln High School.
Coach, on a Sunday, any chance you might be looking at some tape or laying in a game plan during the season on a Sunday?
That's every day, every Sunday.
Bashieff, I don't work on Sunday, and then he bothers me like nonstop because he's writing a script that's probably not even going to go on there until March, but he's doing it now, and he thinks I'm going to do the same thing on my Sunday.
Coach, you'd be shocked at how much our lives are like as far as hours in. I mean, my other half always says, why don't you get a paper route? You'd make more per hour.
Sunday, I got my computer screen, and I'll have a TV right here, another screen right here, and I'm trying to multitask, but I'm pretty locked in, especially right now, coming up with a playoffs.
Can you watch a football game? Because I can't. I have to turn it off. I can't even watch a game. I can have it in the background, but I can't have the picture up.
Yeah, I never really watch it unless I hear some excitement or something. But it's just visualizing it, and I'm just trying to watch the film.
So, Coach, you have a bye this week. So, are you going to actually go to a game? Because you can't see anybody you're playing. Are you going to go to a game, just take it in and enjoy it? What do you got planned for the bye week?
Yeah, so my little bro, Asante Harzal, he coached at Mount Miguel. So I'm probably just going to check that out and go see him coach finally. That's my little bro right there. So my first time able to go see him coach, so I'm probably going to take the opportunity to go see him do that.
I'm sure you're aware of it because I can feel it. Mount Miguel's coming for you guys. They're not there yet, but they feel like pretty soon they're going to be able to match you stallion for stallion. I feel that. Do you feel that?
Come dance with the wolves, man.
That's a no?
Well, I'm not saying it's there now, and I don't think they think it's there now, but they feel like it's going to be there. They certainly are going to try. I think I would take it as a compliment because they see you as, being on the pedestal of greatness. Your program.
If it happened, it happened. It's a lot of stuff that went on as far as scheduling and stuff. I don't even care about it no more. If it happened, it happened. It is what it is.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm speaking out of school, somebody hit me. But you wanted to play them, and they chose not to play you, correct?
I don't know how. I'm not in those conversations. I just worry about coaching defense. You know what I'm saying? But
got it.
Are you staying out of this one?
Well, it's smart.
Well,
first of all,
I just worry about defense. You know what I'm saying? That's all I really worry about.
I know.
Well, I'll tell you what, because you're defending those guys, they got a lot of weapons. But we'll leave that conversation for later, because I want to start this out. Your first name is spelled Bashieff, Bashieff. Tell me the origin of that name, please.
So I'm named after my dad, and so my grandma, his mom, her and her best friend was pregnant around the same time, and they had talked about their names, and pretty much my grandma had my dad first, and she stole the name from her and named it my dad, and then my dad named me, and now I named my kid. So now we got 3 Bashieffs.
You're the first Bashieff I've ever spoken to, so that's cool. I like an original name.
Unlike Paul.
Yeah, like I got stuck with an apostle.
Yeah, Paul. That's
not even the best
name.
One.
Could be worse. You could be named after Burt Reynolds like me.
Are you really named after Burt Reynolds?
I have no idea.
Because it would fit.
It would fit. Burt Bacharach. No, who's the other one?
Burt Reynolds, Burt Bacharach.
All right, maybe one of those two. Bashieff, I'm on it. So, you here, because we always have the conversations and talking to other coaches, it's always the names come up, you and Mentali, who's the best DC in the county. And people have opinions, but Mentali's been around for like 35 years. You're fairly new. This is like, what, 4th or 5th year for you?
As far as being in DC?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my 5th year being a defensive coordinator. Mentali, he's the standard, man. He's the standard. I'm kind of mad at him, man, because he can never. I always ask him before we play Cathedral, because I just ask him for advice on how to stop the wing T, and he'll never tell me. You know what I'm saying? So I got to just go and watch his film from like De La Salle or something, and try to get an answer.
Well,
But mentality, he's a cool dude. He always shows love. A lot of my game plans really just come from watching their games. You know what I'm saying? I watch pretty much every one of their games because like I said, Cathedral, mentality, Doyle, everything they got going on, they're the standard. You know what I'm saying? So I always try to watch every single one of their games. Rather we have a common opponent or not, to just try to pick up some things. So it's nothing but love for mentality, and as long as he's here, he's the man, and then everybody else gotta find their way and get in where they fit in.
Coach, I would beg to differ with you in that you seem to throttle the wing tee last time out. I know you're a humble guy, but what was the secret? I'll tell you one thing, is that your number 54 can play football.
Well, it starts with him. It starts with him. It's not just him, no. It's him and 56. Him and Rashad Scott, man. Those two they're undersized D tackles, but they play with leverage and they play violent and they just play with heart. And the way I can't even explain it sometimes. They still amaze me till this day. At Lincoln, we really struggle with depth as far as up front. So those guys pretty much play like every play on defense, and they really don't get to come out. They'll tap their helmet, and I'm like, nah, you're not copying. I'm not coming out. You know what I'm saying? But so it's Eugene and Rashad because as Burt knows, every defense, it starts with the middle. You know what I'm saying? So it starts with those guys, and they help keep my linebackers free, and then my linebackers make their reads, and they get to it.
Eugene, and this is from my era, so you guys probably don't even know the name. He reminds me of John Randall, the old Viking great, where just you look at him and you're thinking, oh boy, we'll just steamroll this cat, and he's so damn quick, and he's got like the Energizer Bunny. He doesn't.
Randall played in the '90s. What do you mean your era?
Well, I'm saying when I was.
I thought you were saying Fran Tarkenton or Alan Page or something.
I don't know. Do you know who John Randall is?
I know John Randall.
Do you know who John Randall is, Coach?
I do know. So from the first time I seen Eugene, he was the only freshman I seen that come in with waves and a beard. You know what I'm saying? And he was playing JV. He was playing JV, and he was just this little guy always coming up every tackle just yelling. Like that's almost like Kevin Garnett. Like he's yelling, but he's really just yelling at himself. You know what I'm saying? And I always called him Baby Sapp. He always reminded me of like a Warren Sapp type. So that was my first nickname I gave him, was Warren Sapp. And then, like I said, he came in with waves and a beard. So now I call him Grandpa.
Eugene has that clothing company. Does he give you any of that clothing? Because he didn't.
What's it called? Audacity or something? What was the name of it?
Something Threads. What is it?
Yeah.
What's his clothing thing he wears?
He be holding out, man. I keep telling him just to shoot me something, man. But I got you, coach. And I never come.
Luminacy or something?
Yeah, Luminacy Threads.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where it's a line where you get to design the clothes and then they make it for you. So it's not like you.
Oh, we'd have to design it.
No, he would design it, and then like we get PPR gear from him.
Oh.
Very interesting player who some school is going to get a diamond and they just don't know it yet. That somebody's going to pick up on that kid as an afterthought, and he's going to end up being the best player on their defense.
Yeah, he makes your defense instantly tougher. You know what I'm saying? Like what he lacks in height, he makes up for it with everything else. I think it was Akili who said it last year, like, and kind of with me too, is he changed my whole perception on like D-line play. Like you think a D lineman has to be a certain height, but when you really think about it, it really doesn't matter, because as football, it's always the low man wins, who plays with the best leverage, and that's his strength. He's always able to play with leverage, and then he has the foot quickness in the hand and the violent hands to make it work. So I always say, man, if he was just 6 foot, he'll be a top 100 guy, power 4, power 5 guy, but because he has a 4.0, he's one of the smartest guys you ever meet. He's an ASB guy. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of guys, he's going to fail that eyeball test. But if you put them pads on and you say set go, you're going, like I said, you're going to walk away asking who was 54.
So he's up for probably Defense Player of the Year, I'd say. If he won that, that'd be like 3 in a row for you guys. What's the secret to that? Most teams don't even have 3 in their history. You'd be 3 in a row. What's the history or the secret to that?
I think it's just, I think it's just a lot of film work. You know, I really emphasize getting the film, especially going from that junior year to that senior year. Did the same thing with Josiah and the same thing with LJ and even with Eugene. You know, you got to give the kids a chance to develop and grow and just get the mental capacity to even want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of let them try to grow and figure out what they want to do. And then when they get to their junior year, I always meet with them. I'm like, you know, so is this what you want to do? And if this is what you want to do at the next level, we kind of start getting, you know, the film work and just that extra prep and a good off season. So all those guys, they really took a big leap as far as the work they put in the off season and the grind, and not just on the field, but off the field as well. You know, we spend a lot of time off the field. They probably get annoyed. I'm calling them, texting them 3, 4 in the morning. When I'm up watching film, I'm sending them texts and everything. So it's just a matter of just putting in that work, man, on and off the field.
My bookshelf at home is filled with probably by your guys' standards, elementary football strategies, terminologies, and I just love the X and O's part of the game, Coach. I'm curious, if that camera could pan to your bookshelf, who do you consider your source material for the defensive concepts that you're fond of or teaching? Who do you think is your mentor? Who do you read? Turn me on to a good book to read about teaching high school football.
I'm gonna be real, Bert. A lot of what I do, I say 3 people. Well, 4. My dad, he taught me the game from a young age as far as just with every position and how the game is played. But then when it comes to defense, I'll say it's my Uncle Dre. He was my first defensive coach as far as Pop Warner. And then my high school coach, Coach Chris. And then my college coach, Coach Mike Gardner. He was real good as far as defenses and showing different looks and not showing the same thing. So as far as my influences personally, is probably them defensively, and then just watching some of my favorites was of course Bill Belichick, and then Rex Ryan, and then I like Greg Williams. That's another one of my favorites.
I have to interject a name here because I think a guy who's also in that cutting edge group is Brian Flores over at Minnesota. What they're doing as far as multiple looks is insane.
So I have been researching and doing a lot of homework on him as well, and definitely been putting that into my bag a little bit this year.
Hey, so I hit on earlier. You've only been DC for like 5 years, so you took over for Scott Catlin at Lincoln. What was it like your first game? Were you like throwing up in the bathroom, nervous? I mean, your very first, where you got to call the entire defense. It's all on you that week. Is it any different now than it was then?
Well, my first game was actually Cathedral. You know what I'm saying? My first game was Cathedral. So it was nervous. It definitely was nervous. I watched the most film I probably ever watched in my life. That game, man. I was up till 4 or 5 in the morning. Like my mom goes to work at 6 in the morning, and so she's waking up going to work, and I'm still watching film, and she's like, "Dude, like, what are you doing?" But it's pretty much the same process. It's just like I said, I pride myself on watching a lot of film. You know, I feel like that's your bread and butter. That's where you're gonna pick up the most. So, I guess it's just the film, man.
Let me follow up on that, because what are you looking for? Teach me. What's the first thing you're looking for?
Well, I'm big on. This is where my high school coach came in. He always told me half the battle is lining up right. So I spend a lot of time on just seeing their formations and how they line up, and then I work on how we need to line up to it, and then I want to see what do they run out of those certain formations, and then after I see that, it's just like their third down plays. You know, of course, personnel. And then I look for what plays will give us problems, because I know what type of defense that we run. So I look to see what offense do they run that will give us problems, and that's just all part of the process. I can go on all day, but to sum it up, it's pretty much that. So
it's important to have a scout team that can replicate that, right? And so that you can get a good look in practice as far as those plays that might give you problems. You need to have a scout team that can run those plays to give you a realistic look, right?
Yeah, and that is if you ask any defensive coordinator, that is probably the most difficult and most stressful part when you're trying to prepare your defense, is trying to get the same exact look that you're gonna get in the game, because it never works out that way. You know,
Right.
it just never does. I used to get so mad, but I just got to the point where it's like, just give me the best you got, and then we'll just make it work. My quarterbacks, so Johnny Lamone, he was probably the first one, because he didn't play his senior year, so he did a good job of that year we won state, and I owe him a lot, and I tell him I love him every time I see him, because he really did take control of the scout team and make sure we gave those looks and stuff like that. And the same thing with the Keeley and Jordan this year. They give us great looks. But the most stressful week is probably Cathedral, because they break the huddle and they just run and snap it in probably like 3 seconds. So you literally have to get lined up in 3 seconds, and they're just going to run that quick trap or buck sweep or whatever. So that's probably the most stressful week. But yeah, but running scout team is probably the most stressful thing as far as the defensive coordinator to me.
Yeah, and it's you, like you said. I mean, they run up there and snap it, but then again, they're also running wing T. And if you don't run wing T and you try to get your backup scout team to run wing T, that's not
It's
even
impossible.
doesn't even look the same.
Yeah.
It looks like it's totally
not-
different. But it worked last night because they only had 24 yards rushing in the game. So I guess your scout team must have did pretty good, or somebody.
I'm not gonna lie, man. This was probably the best year that I had a scout team with Cathedral. Like, they did a good job of getting in and out, and I had to tell them, like, man, I appreciate
Well, it's
you
only
guys a
6
lot.
plays. They just run it from 40 different formations.
Yeah, that's true.
And they all think that. They all think that, but it's really not. That's why I say they all think that, but it's really not. You got to watch and really see.
So it's more multifaceted than I give them credit.
Yeah, and then now they got Brady and those other guys, so they will, they'll go wing T and they'll just boom run in 3 or 4 guys, and now you got to match personnel. And then what I wish they would adapt with high school that they do in the NFL now is if they bring in a new personnel, that they stop and give the defense a chance
To adjust.
To adjust. And if I can talk to somebody on the CIF or the coaches, whoever I got to talk to, I'm gonna bring that up, because these offensive coaches, they'll run somebody out with 10 seconds left and then snap it, and you can't even adjust. And it's like, we got to fix that. So yeah.
I promise you, Coach, I'll run this clip on Twitter. I'll run the specific twit on X, so you can get your. Okay, I promise you that. I'll throw you that bone.
You only run your questions. You don't run any of my questions. And don't say because yours are better.
Are you going to?
No,
Are
I'm
you
just
going
saying.
to whine in front of our guests?
I know.
Geez, we got the man for 25 minutes. Can you just?
No, he's a coach for Strike
my
Force
guy,
too.
man.
Yeah,
First
you
my
know he
guy.
coached for Strike Force too.
Well, yeah, I know you
You
guys
go
are
to the
tight.
games. I know you're always drunk there, but if you looked over and paid
Coach.
attention, you'd know. I'm just saying.
Coach, I apologize. We've been struggling all year long with.
We
our,
have,
our
man.
chem-
We're going to counseling, man. It ain't the same anymore.
Our chemistry is all
Honeymoon's
off.
over.
And chemistry is everything.
You
I
guys
got a
remind me
question.
of you guys remind me of Mad Dog and Russo.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, we bring this up with everything, and you not having a home field. And we went to the J. Sarah game, and it ain't the same atmosphere, as being at Lincoln, on your campus as is in Southwestern College. I mean, has that been a big difference to you guys, or are we just making too big a deal out of it, not having a home field, being at school?
Nah, man, it's been a world of a difference, because, like you said, just not being able to practice at your home. We don't have lines, for one, so that hurts. I'm seeing it starting to hurt my defense as far as my safeties as getting lined up and stuff like that. But it really hurts our offense, because they line up on they play off hashes, and that's a big part of your formations and where you line up at, and then the timing of your routes, because you're not in the same spot you are in practice. So it does play a part. And then the part that hurts me the most is just I'm barely able to do any film. I try to do a couple Zoom meetings with my guys, but they got homework and they be tired after practice, because I work them, Carter works them, so I know they're tired. So I done had Zoom meetings, guys that fell asleep, so I just gave up on that, and I'll try to do like a quick hour after practice or something like that when we're traveling back. You know what I'm saying? But it takes away from the film time and the preparation that you would do on a whiteboard. That we have suffered from that the most. But our coaches, we can't make an excuse. We just got to make it work. So we just try to make it work with how we can.
That's why. Who was it? Who were we talking to? Was it Akili? Maybe we were saying this season, if you guys were to pull it off and win the Open Division title, and anything that happens beyond that. This is the stories that come out of Hollywood. Where, I mean, let's face it, you're practicing somewhere else, you're playing your game somewhere else. If you were to clear every one of those hurdles and still have what you would consider a successful season, those are the things that you talk about for a lifetime.
Yeah, and the person who made me realize that was Mitchie Slick, because we was in Vegas, and after the game we was just talking because we was in Sacramento, we had played Grant, and we was going into the San Diego games, and we were just talking. I'm like, man, I'm just still mad we lost the Arbor View and Jay Serra game. You know what I'm saying? And he just brought me the reality, and he was like, man, you gotta think about it, little homie. Y'all ain't been practicing on no lines, no nothing. So we was gonna start slow. It was just all part of the process. Like, he was just like, there's no way y'all was gonna go undefeated in all these circumstances. And of course, as a coach, you're not thinking about that, but it's like, you know, maybe he right, but you still don't want to lose those games when you know you should have won them. You know, those were two games that was probably like the worst first half of football I've ever been a part of in my life. But, you know, those losses help you in the long run, so I'll take them. You know, it's lessons, not losses.
Yeah, and the other part we miss about not having the home field, not being able to practice with Lions is you got to go out of state, you got to go out of town for like the first 6 weeks. Like, nobody even sees you. Staying overnight, long bus rides.
That's a different story, but I feel you.
That's like the Strike Force away game. You got to go on that 6-hour bus.
Yeah. That stuff be crazy, man. It kind of felt like that.
Coach, the reason why we're doing this interview with you is that back when Coach Dunn got his 100th win, he insisted that both you and JC be part of the Good Morning San Diego interview. And I don't know if you know, but we're under a renovation. All we have is 2 chairs. So we couldn't, somebody would have had to stand. So I said, well, what if we have the coaches on in the podcast? And I thought that spoke volumes to Dunn, because it wasn't like he said, oh, listen, I'll do it. I'll come in, but I want my coordinators with me. I wonder if you could return the love there, because what's it like? I mean, back in the day, there was this movie called The Pope of Greenwich Village. And
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, with Mickey. Coach Dunn is the Pope of Lincoln High. He's a bigger than life character. And I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit.
I mean, it all starts with him. You know what I'm saying? He goes through a lot, man, on the field, off the field. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad I'm able to help take some off of his plate as far as with the defense. You know what I'm saying? And Carter helps him a little bit more than, as far as off the field, Carter helps him a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? As far as everything that he got going on. But, you know, that's Unc right there. That's fam. He's always known me since I was a little kid. I'm the same age as his oldest son, so we grew up playing against each other and stuff like that. So and then from the same neighborhood and everything. So like I said, that's Unc, that's fam. And then when the opportunity came for me to coach, he let me in open arms. He always, he made me wait my time. And then when my time came, he just threw me in there. And then when we lost the Oceanside, like, I honestly thought, like, man, I don't know if he gonna bring me back. Like, that was my first. I'm like, because it's Lincoln. He can go find somebody else. A lot of people probably want to come coach here. Alumni. I didn't go to Lincoln. Lincoln was shut down when I was in high school, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people hit him to come coach when Scott had stepped down. But he gave me the opportunity, and he let me keep it. So I'm always thankful for him for giving me the opportunity, and it's all love, on and off the field with Unc for sure.
Do you want to be a head coach, or you just want to stay at DC?
Man, I'll be thinking about it sometimes, man, but
a lot of stuff.
The coaches don't really get to coach football like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to deal with parents and
administrators.
Stuff. You know what I'm saying? It had to be the right situation. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm probably a little different as far as a coach. So any administration is probably gonna have to get to know me and understand that. You know what I'm saying? And if the right, it just has to be the right opportunity. I wouldn't just hop into any opportunity because they said, hey, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do that.
I'm going to put you on the spot. In your 5 years, who's the best player you coached?
I told you it was coming.
You got to pick one, too.
I told you before this interview started that I knew.
I got to pick one.
You got to pick one.
Who would you pick first? Do it that way.
Who would I pick first?
If you were building a defense, and of all the kids you've coached at Lincoln,
Who's your number one pick?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like I said, it starts with the middle, and I didn't get to coach this guy. Does it have to be a defensive coordinator that I coach, or can it be like since I was at Lincoln?
since you've been at Lincoln,
Since I've been at Lincoln, I would have to say Ray Kirkland.
why?
It starts in the middle, and that dude did things that you only see people like Aaron Donald do like in the pros. Like Teray was playing nose guard, and he was like taking on double teams and just splitting them and throwing dudes off of him. And like he just really with no technique, it was just brute strength. Like he helped us out with JV, and I tell him all the time, like, bro, I wish I would have had just 1 year with. If I would have had two, but if I would have had just one, I just wish Teray. He makes sure defense. He's an undersized guy too, but like Gene, he did it more with quickness and foot and like little foot quickness. Teray was just brute strength. You know, if you know his story, he was a leader. He just graduated from San Diego State. You know, but Teray was different, man. Teray was different. He can move grown men, and he's probably only like 5'7", 5'8" himself, but Teray was a grown man amongst boys for real.
All right,
So I have to say Teray.
Can you make sure you tag Josiah Cox in that? Or
And
you put it on Twitter?
Look, my reasoning, Burt, is because it starts up front. You know that it starts up front. You know what I'm saying? It starts from the front to the back. So I got to take care of that front unit first. And Teray, he's a guy. He can play in the middle, wherever you want him to play. But, man, Teray did some different things. So,
Coach, it's a credit to you that this is an observation I have, having watched a bunch of your games now, a lot of them in person and a lot of them on tape. On your average high school football team, you have, on a defensive unit, you have maybe 1, 2, if you're lucky, you have 3 or 4 guys who really enjoy the contact, the collision of football.
Yeah.
The rest of us, and I put myself in this category, we're posers. We just did it because it was a way to get girls on the weekend. You seem to have a team of guys that enjoy collisions, and that makes you. There's an intimidation factor playing your school that other schools don't enjoy, because you have 11 cats that like the sport of football, and you can see it just because they revel in the collisions. Is that a fair observation?
it's a fair observation. Our guys, man, it just play football how it's supposed to be played. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we play a little violent. You know, we play a little violent. We try to get after it. You know, it's just part of the game. So, you know, we can't really hit during the week because we probably wouldn't have a team. So, so part of it is probably they're just getting to Friday and they're probably able to really physically run into somebody and not have to worry about a quick whistle or a thud or a keep them up. Well, that probably might be what it is too. Is just able to finally let the dogs off the leash.
That's a true statement, Paul. Because I watch your defense and we go to games and every week I can look around other schools and pick 3 or 4 kids that don't really want that smoke and they don't really want it to happen. They want to go to the other side. And you can see those kids and your guys who don't come to their side, they're trying to get to the other side to get to that side. But yeah, you don't see that in high school. You see it in college, you see it in the pros obviously because there's a difference. But high school, you don't see 11 guys that all want at the same time.
I mean, you're aptly named.
One of our slogans is just make them pay the price. You know what I'm saying? So it's a price to pay when you come across the defense, and then just everybody got to pay the price. You know, it's just part of the game.
All right, well, I got one last question.
Okay, we each have one more question. Can you stay for 5 more minutes, Coach?
Good thing, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
All right, Chief, you got your pick. Who would you rather play, La Costa Canyon or Cathedral?
I mean, La Costa Canyon said they want to see us. You know what I'm saying? But they gotta get past Cathedral first too. You know, it's a matter of can they stop the wing T, and what they do. You know, but it's whoever win really. You know, they said they wanted us. You know what I'm saying? So we happy that somebody want to play and want to get down. So you know what I'm saying? We accept the challenge and we just waiting. We gotta take care of Mission Hills and they gotta handle their business, and we'll go on from there.
All right, last question.
Go ahead.
You're going to be our longest podcast, Coach.
He already is.
Yeah. So
I did his podcast last year, and he kept me on every hour and a half. He ain't got. You just keep going. Go ahead.
It's all good.
I found that kids have an attention span of about a half hour. If we keep it to a half hour, we get some views. Coach me. I'm a kid who needs my fire lit, and I have potential, but I'm not getting the job done. Get in my grill. Give me what's it like to be on the other end of your message? Talk to me, Coach. Get me fired up.
Well, first, I just try to see, like, what are you not understanding? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it something, when a kid is messing up or he's not doing what I expect him to do, I ask first, is it something that I'm not doing to explain to you good enough that what your job is? You know what I'm saying? And then after we talk about that, we usually probably come to a medium, and then it's just, the film. And then we just got to drill it up and just get more reps. And then, these kids are young, so I feel like every kid gets better with the more reps they get. So as long as they get the coaching and the reps, then they should be all right. As long as you willing to match that physicality and not, want to duck and, when somebody coming at you. As long as you willing to, as long as you tough and willing to stick your head in there, I can make everything else work. I tell them all the time, I'll take all the knuckleheads. Send me all the guys that you don't want to coach and you think that don't listen, and that I'll take all those guys and we'll make it work.
I make a lot of business decisions out there, Coach.
He's one of the ones that runs the other way.
Yeah,
and plus, you play 8-man football. He coaches 11. He can't coach you.
I set a school record for most consecutive starts without having to launder my uniform. Contact avoidance was my specialty.
Yeah, hey, man. I can't do nothing about that.
We be watching him with girls' flag. He'd play girls' flag nowadays.
Hey, some of those girls are tough.
They're good, actually.
They're tough.
They be getting after it. They be getting physical.
Yeah, they do.
Well, let's end the conversation there. Are you impressed? Because I am. Man, they wing the ball around. I thought it was going to be a hit and giggle. It's serious football.
Nah, man, I got a 3-year-old daughter. I got a couple nieces. You know what I'm saying? We already getting ready right now. My daughter gonna be the GOAT, man. We finna get these ladders, get these feet right. We finna get right.
They go at it, the girls. I see it on our highlights, and they're like violent. It's like they want to it's a half tackle, half grab the flag kind of thing.
And they're running the read option. They're doing a lot of stuff out there.
My daughter, hey, hit them while grabbing the flag. If they go down, they go down. The flag.
Coach, it's been an honor to get to know you for just 30 minutes. I can understand why Lincoln is enjoying such success. I can understand why Coach Dunn is wanted you to have this conversation with us. It all comes together perfectly. I have a request to make, because I know one of the bits we're going to do is your name, and I need some pictures of those people that you were talking about, your grandma and stuff. Do you have any of stills that you can send our way?
I can try and get them. Unfortunately, my grandma passed when my dad was 2. So I just found out that story probably like 6, 7, 8 years ago at like a family reunion, The lady walked up to me and she was like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, look, this trips me out, because she showed me a picture of her son and he low-key looked like one of my cousins or something. And I'm like, whoa. But she was like, she heard somebody say my name. And I was like, yeah, my name's Bashieff. And she was asking, like, is Peggy your grandma? And I was like, yeah, that's my dad's mom. And I was like, telling, like, I never met her and stuff like that. And then she told my dad how the whole name came up. And so that's how we found out the name. You know what I'm saying? I just always thought it was the name of my dad. My dad's side of the family is Muslim. So I thought maybe it was like something like that. But my dad was like, nah, my dad didn't know either. So
well, if you have any family photos, and Burt's going to call you, if you could send us that just so we can put it over the top of it, because I know that's one of the clips.
I'll get a picture of her for sure. All right,
because Coach,
just text it to me.
Because Coach, I'm going to start working on this today, so the sooner the better. We want to post these things later in the afternoon. So any help there? What else are we going to talk about? We got Eugene. We got to have video of Kirkland. I know that. And David Dunn, we have video of. Who else do I need?
You need to tag Josiah Cox on there where he said that he wasn't the best.
So, Coach, the only thing I need from you is pictures of your family. And if you have any good pictures of you coaching that you want to share with us that we can spice this up with on the field, sidelines, anything that you own that's not going to get me sued, please, Burt's going to give you Maddie's and my email. Email, not text.
Okay.
Because it speeds up the process of editing. It's been an honor, sir, to speak with you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And we're going to put this up on YouTube later in about an hour, and then it'll start showing up on social media later tonight.
I don't know if you remember, Paul, but our first time talking, I was in high school, and I had one play of the week at Horizon, and you had called my school. I was doing office aid, and you called the school and was like trying to talk to the principals, and I answered the phone, and then I transferred it over to the person. I think it was the principal or somebody, and then they were like, you were saying you was looking for me, and they gave the phone back to me, and then we talked, and you sent my shirt over and stuff like that.
All right, hold it.
Now we got to use that clip.
That just made the podcast, Coach. So, what year was that?
That was 2010. 2010, it was Horizon against, I want to say Santa Fe Christian.
Horizon versus Santa Fe.
I had one play of the week.
All right, so you still have the shirt?
Nah, it was 2010. It was 2010, man. That was a long time ago.
All right, we should bring you on. We'll bring you on to the next game.
Appreciate that. My kids don't be believing me, so I would appreciate that, man.
So, Coach, that just made the thing. So, PPR Memories. Thank you so much, and please continue good health, and thank you for making time for us. It means a lot.
Appreciate everything you do for the San Diego football community.
And right back at you. PPR podcast number 198 is over. Take care, Coach.